Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, aka the RGT and Scotty Show, your weekly gaming podcast, episode number 257 with me, George. Yes, that rise in listener numbers and viewer numbers just took an absolute punishing because the king has returned. This week joined by RGT, stud to my dud. How's it going?
Very well, thanks. Stud is probably a bit of a overstatement.
No, I think just wind it in. Okay, you're someone's pin-up somewhere, albeit, you know, they've probably got no teeth, but that's fine.
Deb's Babs.
All been there. It's a lonely night in Farmerton, and sometimes you just got to go where you know you can empty yourself. Listen, I just want to say on air and on record, I like to think that I thanked you both off air. I probably haven't because I'm such a nonchalant. Since OG Tom left the show, I've become the, in wrestling terms, heel stroke bad guy. So I'm leaning into it a little bit, if I may say so. But I just want to take a moment to say thank you to you and Scotty and Seb for the carry while I've been otherwise engaged. I've been around. Hopefully,
no problem.
Slightly more gracious would have been nice, but okay. Moving on swiftly, keeping pace in the show. I'm going to say thank you to Scotty separately, just to make sure he hears this. Hopefully he does. He probably doesn't listen anymore. He only listens to the episodes he's on. It's good to be back. Obviously, I'm feeling very vicious today, but I'll try not to lash out too hard in your general direction. And thank you to all the listeners for your support, continuing and ongoing and ever rising. We couldn't do the show without you. Don't worry. We'll thank you in your own moment separately. So, the only thing I want to know is... Oh, and by the way, last week's episode was an absolute gangbanger. I very much like it. And it was very well received across the audience, the community, and the wider gaming spectrum as well, I might add. So, great work. Let me know when the retirement check's coming in, and I'll put my feet up and relax.
You aren't getting away that easy, fella.
I'm trying. I can't quite just escape the gravitational pull that is the UCP. And stay tuned, because I don't want to get everyone too revved up, but we're behind the scenes. We're trying to pull together a couple of little bits and bobs which we think will make you smile. Stick close to us, keep your eyes peeled on the socials, and hopefully over the next 6 months we should be able to regale you with some nice news. In lieu of that, let's not mess around, because I know that you know, that I know, that they know, that you know, that I want to know. What have you been playing?
I've only been playing 2 games this last week.
Roblox?
Oh, God, you've ruined it again.
Candy Crush.
Roblox and Candy Crush, yeah. Anyway, what have you been playing? No.
Roblox and Candy Crush.
Right. News. I've started Witcher 3 PS5. Mentioned the other week.
So you're not playing the Switcher 3. You decided to go full hog next-gen patched version of the Witcher 3 on PS5. It's, if I may just intercede, quite the specimen, isn't it?
Looks stunning. Yeah, I mean, the scenery in that is really, really good. I've put a few screenshots up on the Discord. It does look... I didn't think it'd look as good as that, because, I mean, it's had remasters and bumped up and, all the rest, but yeah, it's good.
It's real good.
Been enjoying the game. I've hit a bit of a stumbling block at the moment. I'm only about 5 or 6 hours in.
Leveling.
And there's leveling, and also places where I have to go, and the map has no place names on. So I'm really a bit randomly stuck as to which direction. I suppose I've just got to go and explore. But up till then, enjoying it. It's very deep lore. It's quite a deep RPG, as in stats and gear, and but it hasn't put me off at all. I want to learn. I'm sort of enjoying the world. I think it's well acted. I'm quite enjoying the characters. So I think it's something that I'll definitely be sticking some hours into. Once I can work out which way I've got to go in the map. That
Where are you
would
meant to
help
be going? Because I might try and remember.
I've got 3 places that I've got to check out. I can't remember the name of the villages. I'll have to send them to you, but I've got no idea where those villages are because there's no place markers or there's no names on the map. So I think you just have to go out and explore and find bits as you level up and go, sort of thing, to find a story, I think. But I'll send them to you after
when you get to the hub in that first pub you get to where you kind of sit down and have a little powwow with people out in the middle of nowhere after beating that winged creature or werewolf or whatever it is, right at the start.
Is it a griffin? Griffin, I think.
Gryffindor. I'm sure there's some signs or some sort of road signs there that point you in the right direction.
Yeah, there's a few signs. Some of them are a bit random. Some sort of say north. Some will say places. But yeah, you just got to sort of. I've got to explore a bit more and find a bit more out. But
that's Witcher 3 without, a bit of a light touch from you there. But tell me about Roblox then. Or what's this other game, in truth?
Still Sociable Soccer. I'm nearly 40 hours into this game. I am completely hooked. Completely hooked. Now I've got Scott playing it. So he's sporting.
You're a bad influence.
I am.
No one plays my games.
I've just got this. I mean, it seems a bit confusing when you first start it, but once you get into it, it's not. You start with a low-ranked team. You start in Division 10. You play other people's teams, but the computer's playing on their behalf. You're not actually playing them online. You can upgrade players with old players you have by sort of getting rid of them and taking their stats and upgrading your players. And they're like, the players just like cards, like a sticker book album cards as you bring them out. You get one player on loan each year. Like this year, I've got Ronaldo, which is brilliant. And I've been statting the team up. So you start in Division 10. I'm now Division 4, nearly into Division 3, and I've got it in my head. I want to go to Division 1 and see if I can be one of the best players on Sociable Soccer. But absolutely enjoying it. You have little extra things as you go along, like win streaks. If you get... Now, that's quite good, the win streaks. I had a good one today. So you start off, they'll say, right, we're going to start a win streak, even though you're just playing your league games. We'll start a win streak. First game, right, if you win that, they say, right, he's a player, he's 39 rated. Or do you want to continue and go for the next player who's 49 rated and you have to win? And you go all the way up. And today I had all the teams are over me. I think my team's rated 940, I think. Every team is over 1,000 rated. I beat every team. I've got a 72 rated player.
The way my brain works, my takeaway from that is that some sort of football version of Bruce's cards is right. Play your cards right. Are you screaming higher and lower at each different section of this win streak?
No. It's just they just offer you a higher player each time. You can either cash in and take that player, or you can try and carry on and win to get the better player at the end of 5 games.
Next time you play that, you do know you're going to have an image of Rosemary Ford with Bruce Forsyth's voice in the background.
I always do when I play this game.
But I don't know what to do with that image, apart from dismiss myself from the show and take myself away to a quiet room for some Georgie time.
Georgie time. But yes, I mean, this guy, I think Scott's picked this up, physical copy on Switch for £16.
He's an animal.
Yes, that's a bargain. It's so good. It's got, and I said this before, I mean, it'll start you in side mode, put it in top-down mode, and you'll know that John Hare's made this of Sensible Soccer. It's got that Sensible Soccer feel. Yes, it's got more modern graphics, but the way you shoot, the way you score, the way you play is so Sensible Soccer. The way they all quickly run out and quickly get ready for the kick-off. It's got that essence of Sensi, and that's what I love about it.
Nice.
Yeah, Sociable Soccer is been absolutely brilliant. Let's put it this way, EAFC has not had a look in. I played EAFC last week for about 2 matches and was so bored stiff. I'll just put Sociable Soccer back on.
You got to go where you're happy sometimes.
Exactly, yeah. It's just that arcade feel. It's brilliant. Takes me back to the Amiga. But that's all I've been playing. So what about you, Georgie boy?
Roll up, gather round, take a seat, one and all, because I tell you what I've been playing. Absolutely all. Okay, I don't know where that came from. It's the best poem I've ever written. I wish I'd had that in me during GCSE English. Sadly, I didn't. I just basically scribbled the name, saluted the guy, blacked out.
Oh, what a reference. Superb. See, if anyone gets that reference, put it in the Discord if you get that reference.
But all joking aside, I seem to, for the most of January, while I've been off the show, but around, I've been playing a lot of, well, let's start this properly. Me and my good lady Rachel have been watching an awful lot of Vikings, so much like OG Tom, play the game, see the game, watch the game, play the game. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, I sunk 60 hours into this bad boy on the launch of the PS5 and found it to be pretty unrewarding. I've gone back to it now with the idea that I'm creating my own storyline, and I've gone at it, and I'm finding it a little bit more enjoyable.
I thought you were then about to say I'll put another 60 hours in and find it unrewarding.
Well, I'm getting to the point now where I'm thinking this is feeling quite unrewarding, and I'm looking at the hour clock, and we're fast approaching the same point. But I think I'm having more fun with it this time round. I'm just doing what I want to do. I'm avoiding the things that I knew either not upset me, but annoyed me before. There's a lot of leveling in the game. And if you go into an area that you're not leveled for, I know everyone's going to be screaming, get good. Well, yeah, okay, fair enough. But if you're low level, you're just not going to have an opportunity to take the higher guys. So you just need to be careful where you're straying on your wonders, because suddenly you go from feeling like Superman to feeling like Super Can't. And it's pretty demoralising, if I'm honest with you. And you think, what am I doing wrong? And then you look on the map and you're like, I'll tell you what I'm doing wrong. I'm going where I shouldn't be going. I struggled with Ghost of Tsushima when I first started playing that. I did a similar thing. I walked off piece just naturally enjoying myself and wandered into areas that I just shouldn't have been in. And I was like, this game's too difficult. But then when I reined it back in, stuck to the missions, went where I was meant to go, and slowly leveled up in accordance with the game's routine, things made more sense. I find some of the civilization building to be a bit pointless, to be honest, but it's been in and around it since Assassin's Creed 2, I think, and it was a pointless exercise then. I think they could have cut some of the bloat out for me. But anyway, that's one thing. The other thing I've been playing an awful lot of is, I have to admit, a bit more Farming Simulator. I mean, you spoke off air, but just to regale everybody, finally some British maps appearing on the Mod Hub. Still no international tractors, if you're listening. Mods, pull your finger out. But the level of detail and things that have gone into it now that I can appreciate. I think you and I talked about how I've noticed the sounds have improved. Like I was carrying an empty trailer and it makes that massive kind of loud echoing noise as the metal's flexing and bended. Yet you put a load in there and put the vehicle under stress and that noise goes away. You can hear the chains chinking on the 3-point linkage. You can literally hear everything and it's perfect. And it's from the right place every time as well.
It's good details that not everyone will appreciate. But yeah,
exactly. It's sound that is lost. Generally sounding games is kind of, it's there, so you tick the box and you don't really think about it. But sometimes I think we just need to take a moment to focus on what we're hearing because it's incredible. And in FS25, the realism of the sound is way up. The field deformation as well is having an impact on the vehicle's movement across the terrain as well. So, yeah, really can't complain. But I don't think they came here based on the title of the show. To hear about me waffle on about Farming Simulator. Now, we're not going to make you hang on too much longer as we break down this month's Sony State of Play. But it would be remiss of me. And no doubt after this, he's going to say, I ain't got one, George. Stop it. Don't do it to me. Don't make me feel like this. Don't make me feel inadequate. All right, mate. But you got one job. It's to turn up with hidden gems. So let's see if you've done your homework while I've been off. RGT! He's like the Lone Ranger.
Like it.
Riding on down.
Ooh.
Bring hidden gems to me.
Someone's been practicing.
4 weeks off the show, 20 grand sunk into singing lessons. One could see at least a 1% increase. So for me to get from the 2% I'm at to 100, we're looking at about £1 million.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be worth it.
I actually surprised myself there with some of the warbling that I did. As I was
Did you do a
doing
little
it,
bit
and
of
I was a bit
warbling?
like, I saw your face. I was like, I might be pulling this out the back.
Yeah,
So
I like it.
don't keep me salivating. Don't keep me dribbling like an angry snake ready to shoot its venom. Tell me.
Right, George, let's forget all the singer lessons and everything here. Do you want to play the guessing game with this hidden gem this week?
Of course I do. You know I'm a
I
sucker
knew
for
you
the
did.
guessing game. I'm a sucker for
I
the
knew you
guessing
did.
game.
Right. Developer, London studio,
Oh,
published by Sony.
this is narrowed down, isn't it?
The platform is the PlayStation Portable. Year of release,
Yes.
2005.
Is it Wipeout Pure?
No. I'll give you another clue.
Yeah, I need it.
It's vehicle combat, basically.
It's not a little big. It can't be a little big karting.
Nope.
Mod Nation races, no.
Nope.
Vehicular combat on the PSP. Did you say?
On the PSP. Do you give up?
Is it Destruction Derby? No, not Destruction Derby. Is it? What's it called?
Are you thinking Twisted Metal?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
What is it? 'Cause I'm gonna kick. Am I going to kick myself?
I'm going to show you. It is a little game called Fired Up.
Now, this is interesting to me because I'd forgot about this, but I also didn't realise that this was an internally developed and published Sony game.
Yep. This is London Studio Sony.
Bloody hell. So
Yeah.
give me the... I never would have got, even in my prime, I wouldn't have got that. So that's a good one. So give me and the listeners a round robin of exactly what we are dealing with here. What sort of game is this?
It's got a light story to it. It's basically it's an unknown country. I don't really tell you the country, but they've been invaded by another country next to them called the Republic. And you sort of take the role of four or five different characters who help a lot of resistance army to stop these invaders, and you have different vehicles and different missions. It's almost like a semi-open world, not very big, but you can drive around to start the missions, but also you can collect these tokens for upgrades to your weapons as well as you go.
Yes, please, mummy.
It handles very well. Graphically looks brilliant on the PSP. Looks really good. Yeah, really good. I quite enjoy the story because it's not too deep, but it gives you something to play for.
How's that play back to the gamer, to the user though? Is that through cutscenes or is it through text?
It's pretty much text. You have, I think, if I remember right, this while ago I played it. You have the odd cutscene, but it's pretty much you will find. Do
we want a PSP cut screen, some CGI movie that's been crammed on that doesn't resemble the game's graphics, and it makes the UMD spin like MC Hammer on a roundabout?
Yeah, I know, it's weird. I mean, you can collect. The good thing is you can collect these yellow tokens, and every 10 will add these secondary weapons. You can drive around, and then you can start like a chain link event where you can stop 5 of these trucks that are driving around with their weapons in. You'll get a bonus for that, but you also have mission markers. Start the mission and off you go. One of them was you had to fight off these certain amount of tanks and weapons. Another one was there was these turrets. You drive up, and then you get in the turret, and then you can shoot with these long-range turrets, shoot all their enemies coming through before they get you. So you had to stop them from getting to one of the resistance guys. So they're all quite interchangeable, quite good combat ones. I think they mix it up a bit. But the main thing for this is it's a really, really enjoyable game. It's got some... I mean, you won't find it on Metacritic, but some of the reviews back in the day, some were giving this 80%, 85, 90%. Now, the best thing about this game, if you want to buy this game, this is why I think this is my greatest.
Can we play the guessing game? It's $1.50, isn't it?
You can actually pick this up. If you're good, you could pick this up for £1. I bought this. I've seen it go for £1, but I bought this in CEX, which is like the English GameStop. I paid £1.50 for this game.
Get in there!
So this is the ultimate hidden gem. But yeah, definitely. Fired Up is called. Great little game. I mean, it's not a massive,
I don't know why,
Final Fantasy or anything, but it's just really, really good for the money.
And the font, just, I don't know what it is about it, but it screams Mark Gecko. Do you remember that game on PS2, like Mark Gecko's Tagged Up or whatever it was called?
Yeah. Do you know the weird thing? I've just looked at this, though. It says on the front, includes Wipeout Pure playable demo.
Say sorry now. Say sorry to me now.
No, it's got a playable demo of Wipeout Pure. Look, there you go. But no,
so I was wrong, but I was right, but I was right, but I was well wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, so
Mark
really
Echo's fired up as well
really
before
cheap.
We get a community correction about that. I'm sorry.
But yeah, great little game. So yeah, really good.
Oh, as an aside, I've managed to acquire a copy. Thank you for that, by the way, RG.
No problem.
I love a hidden gem, mainly because I get to showcase my lack of skiing ability. I've been watching way too much Viking stuff. I'm going to have a Viking girl.
A little bit worrying.
Oh, I've not been on air for a while. I'm a bit giddy, if I'm honest with you. Where are we going to take this now? I'll tell you where we're going to take it. Because I was going to tell you that I've managed to finally pick up a copy of True Crime: Streets of New York, which I'm very intrigued to try. I passed over it back in the day, and actually, do you know what? I want to recommend you to try it out for a hidden gem because it's right in the wheelhouse of a hidden gem. For some reason, New York is the hardest of the two games to find. Damn near impossible.
That's weird. I remember
I don't like to cheat and
back
go on
in the
eBay,
day,
but yeah, I just think it came out towards the end of the PS2's life cycle. I think people had already played LA and gone, yeah, that's a bit garbage. But for a PS2 game, this thing is absolutely singing. It's
because I remember the LA game back in the day was highly praised for actually mapping LA. They had a very close map to LA, and that was quite at the time
the PS2 era. It was a good effort. Yeah,
it was good effort to drive around, and if you lived in LA, you'd probably recognise some of the streets and bits. But obviously, GTA has gone way above that nowadays. But yeah, that was quite a big effort for the day. But I remember I've got them both, and I remember playing one of them back in the day. But
it would have been LA.
Yeah,
it's got that great opening by Christopher Walken. You think, oh, here we go. And it just drops you into a pot of mediocrity. I can't say that New York is going to be too different, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from a visual upgrade point of view to where I just want to get all over it.
Because that was sort of like 2005 or something, wasn't it? It was quite late, wasn't it?
It's late in the cycle. By then, you're fighting with like GTA 3, Vice City and San Andreas are people's attention. If you arrive and you're a crime sandbox game, well, guess what you're going to get compared to? I don't think it's really a fair comparison. But I was thinking as I picked it up, is this the retro equivalent of that Rock A City you were playing? All the names, all the talk, with no walk.
Yeah, blew all the money on the licensing of the stars, and then thought, oh, hang on, we need to make a game here. I've only got £1.80 left.
We better put a game together, boys.
Yeah. So that was interesting. That Rock A City. My God, all the stars in that, and then you think, oh, is this the game then? Oh dear.
Exactly. It's got Chuck Norris in it. I mean, you'd think it'd be a recipe for success, but
does that True Crime look good though? New York for the
New York looks really good, and that's really what prompted me to pick it up. Because I saw a couple of gameplay videos, and I thought to myself, wait, hang on. That's light years ahead of New York, and actually light years ahead of most games on the platform in that era. Very impressive.
It's probably a bit like Ghost Hunter because it's come towards the end of the generation. They'd really learn how to get the max out of that.
Imagine Ghost Hunter stretched across a massive open world area. And imagine that, they had to optimize that not only for PS2, Xbox, got a Windows release, amongst other things, right? So you've spread yourself quite thin at this point, yet they seem to have optimized PS2 really well. Cue me next week saying, yeah, tried it for 2 minutes, hated it. It's now frisbeed. It's in the front garden if anyone wants to get it for free.
Using it as a coaster.
Yeah, it's too good for that. It's my tea's too good. My cup of chai latte is way too good for that snivelling wretch of a game. I hope to come back and do my own little hidden gem where you sing the RGT theme tune at me.
Oof, that would be a challenge, and we would lose listeners.
It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make at this point.
Yeah, the one person left accidentally had it on mute when I sung could hear about True Crimes New York.
Listener, if you're about to reach for the dial, don't panic. We've reined it in. We've given ourselves a serious working over. It's time for the meat and veg of what this show was always going to be about. It was this February State of Play. Now, RGT, I'm going to rapid fire let you know everything that we saw. That should appease the listeners and the new listeners. They got what they wanted. They've had a learning experience. And then we shall pick ones that intrigue us and we'll deep dive on them as required. How's that sound to you?
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's give them the full wad. Boosh. And then you can clean up after. Okay, so Saros is the next PS5 exclusive game from Returnal, Housemarque. Coming in 2026. Days Gone Remastered is real. It's out for the PS5 this April. 9 PS Plus Extra Premium games announced for February 2025. The PS Plus Premium adding a trio of classic software titles in 2025. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. That's not the sort of a name you want if you want to get shouted in for your tea, is it? Confirms PS5 release date in new trailer. Borderlands 4 out on PS5 in September. Dedicated State of Play confirmed. Good news. Lost Soul Aside finally launches for PS5 this May. London is in Ruins is a new PS5 game. Tides of Annihilation. Mysterious Puzzle Adventure Blueprints is coming to PS5. Day one on PS Plus. Hit survival crafting game Abiotic Factor announced for PS5 will be a day one on PS Plus. Shinobi Art of Vengeance is the first of Sega's old franchise revivals and looks pretty good in our opinion. Digimon Storytime Stranger confirmed for 2025 on PS5. Octopus platformer Darwin's Paradox isn't the next game we expected from Konami, but it is what it is. Ex-GTA producer reveals futuristic third-person action shooter Mind's Eye for PS5. We've got no idea what pixel junk is either, so we'll try and unpack that as we go. Brutal explorative PS5 game Hell Is Us, confirmed for September launch. Lies of P DLC Overture announced, which will make our co-host Bobby very happy. Coming to PS5 and PS4 this summer. Warriors Abyss is a budget Dynasty Warriors Samurai Warriors roguelite out now on PS5 and PS4. PS5 favourite Stellar Blade Dress Up with Nikki DLC coming to PC in June. PS5's on Minutia Wear the Sword looks outstanding in new gameplay trailer. Sadly, no Jean Reno. The Midnight Walk is one of the most striking PS5 PSVR 2 indies of the year. Good news. PSVR 2 game. Directive 8020 looks like a PS5 return to form for the Until Dawn creator. WWE 2K25 is still flogging a dead horse, in my opinion, but they're adding a social sandbox on PS5, similar to the NBA 2K games that we already enjoy. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds has you racing across dimensions on PS5 and PS4. Co-op adventure Split Faction continues to look superb in latest PS5 trailer. Capcom confirms on Minutia 2 PS4 remaster will launch in May. Still no Jean Reno. Like a Dragon's Ichiban off on fighting Dave the DLC Diver crossover. Dave the Diver DLC crossover. That should make you happy. Might be the first Yakuza game you ever played. Cowboy. It would be a state of play. Of course, it wouldn't be a state of play without Five Nights at Freddy's. It seems to be the one that sends them to the curtain every single time these days. Sci-fi FPS Metal Eden will rip and tear. PS5 in May. Monster Hunter Wilds isn't out yet on PS5, but Capcom already revealed its first free updates. Now, all that information looks like an absolute all-you-can-eat smorgasbord buffet, but the general feeling of the state of play was one of meh. How did it feel for you, RGT, having watched that? And do you feel reborn as a PlayStation gamer, or do you feel a little bit jaded that they told us to get ready for a big one and then deployed that?
I sat down watching it, making notes for the show, and then sort of looked online afterwards, and there was a very mixed bag of opinions. Some people saying that's the worst state of play ever, and I was thinking, well, hold on. And then some people saying it was terrible. Some people saying it looked really good. I mean, I watched this, quite enjoyed it, got to the end, and I wouldn't say I was excited by anything. I don't think there was that big, snippet of Wolverine or Last of Us 3 or anything like that that's going to pull me in. But I just thought it was okay. There's some interesting games there I was quite excited about. I just thought it was okay. I thought it was good. It was nice to see a big smorgasbord of games. I mean, they could have come in with just showing 2 games and jumped out. They didn't. There's a lot there.
There is a lot there. Yeah.
So on that, it was quite good. Some of them I'm not interested in. Some of them I'm thinking, why? But there's 2 or 3 here I thought, oh, they're different. Quite like the idea of those.
Well, on that note, I mean, Saros, the next PS5 exclusive game from Eternal Dead Housemarque coming in 2026. Looks like more of the same, different setting, etc. But
yeah, it's like Returnal 2, really, isn't it?
It basically is. I have no problem with that. First Returnal I did try, but it's not really my cup of tea. I've got the patience levels of a starving mouse, so I bounce off that like a yo-yo on its return, strike up the string. What I do want to talk about, though, is Days Gone Remastered. Now, I appreciate the trailer. I appreciate all of it. But when this game got a PS5 update, when the PS5 launched, and they told us that this was great and we should be very grateful for it, I thought, yeah, that's fair enough. It's free. They seem to now be passing off the same junk to me. No, yeah, I know. I mentioned this on the Discord earlier, and a few people came back and said, "Oh, they've added this and they've added that and they're adding this." And I think, well, a lot of that content was added post-launch, but fair enough. But £10 to upgrade it again, I think this is probably the furthest Sony has stretched the remaster string that I've ever seen.
I think at the moment, they're stuck in an area where they put all their eggs in one basket of these live service games. It is backfired big time. They've now got so many users on PS5. They've sold tens of millions of consoles, and they're just thinking, well, what can we do? Chuck these remasters out for the new people coming over. That's all I can think is why they're doing it. We've got a new audience coming in who are jumping over from, that's all I can think.
We've already got a PS5 patch for a game they can pick up for £4 in their local GameStop or CEX.
I know. I don't get it myself. I really don't.
And I love Days Gone. What makes me nervous about Days Gone Remastered is that them going, yeah, I tell you what, Sony Bend, if you can get this remastered to sell, we'll let you do a sequel. But the thing is, this is going to hit lukewarm at best. And I think the game is great. I think if you've never played it and you rocked up today, even with a PS5 or a Pro, whatever, you're new to the system, you put that in. Yes, it's running on Unreal Engine 4, but my God, at times she's a looker, and she's an open world. And the amount of enemies on screen, NPCs on screen, and zombie hordes is terrifying at times, And they aren't lazy, slovenly zombies. These are, I can run quicker than you, and I like the taste of human flesh like zombies, and they will besiege you at any moment. You've got to be all over it, else you are done. And that's the small hordes. When you start stumbling across real hordes, you got a problem. And the game is challenging. It's enjoyable. The story narrative is great. There are some things within it, like cutting to black between the cutscenes. I would love to imagine that they've done a job to erase those and use in-game engine and go seamlessly from one and then back to the gameplay. It's not going to happen. But if I was looking for a Days Gone remaster, if that got confirmed as being done, I would get this. This because it was a little jarring. It took you out of the game, especially when all of its stablemates were just in-engine rendering straight into the movie and then out again. It was a seamless experience. The cut to black, I remember feeling quite jarring at the time.
Mm.
I've noticed it on some other games since, but the general weighting consensus of games that were released around the time of Days Gone, they'd already worked around that problem, and it wasn't in any other game. So it can be a bit frustrating. Have you ever played Days Gone?
Yeah, I never finished it. I put 20 or so hours in, I think, into the game, but I never got around to finishing
I know that it's the classic sort of podcaster trope to say, oh, you just needed to give it a little bit longer. But I found that I put a lot of hours into this and was thinking, what a pile of steaming poopy. And then all of a sudden I moved to a different camp, everything clicked, and I couldn't stop playing it.
I don't think I ever thought that. I actually quite enjoyed the game. I think I just fell off it because I was playing a lot of other things at the time. But I quite liked the idea. I mean, there was a lot of zombie stuff out at the time, but it was quite nice that they weren't, like you say, they were fast zombies, and you're in, it's the motorbike gang side of it. And it was all just slightly different, off-piste from your normal zombie and that open world. And that, I thought it was quite, and then having to find fuel for your bike and having to be careful you didn't run out. It's all little touches like that. I thought they've tried something really different here.
Yes, they did. It's
and
your classic leveling game, though, because you start your low level, you've got no extra skills. Your bike's low level, it's got no extra perks. So fuel lasts 2 seconds, and you feel like you're constantly filling up, and you're like, "Why am I doing this? It's a chore." So in a way, it's quite. There's a lot of friction to get over before you start rolling with the game, and I do believe that did restrict it. In a way, it probably restricted. Well, no, you just had more games than sense, I suppose. But
without doubt, that's so true.
Not a bad situation to be in, my beloved RGT.
No, very lucky
to be in at all.
Yeah.
Is there any more you want to say on Days Gone? I feel like I've got on my soapbox and gobbed off quite loudly in their general direction.
No, I think you're right.
And to be fair,
it's a stretch, that one. I think a lot of people are thinking the same thing. Even if you hated the game or loved the game, most people are coming back saying, why?
I wanted to just give a shout out there. There's a lovely chap on Instagram called Viking Dad who he took loads of photos of it and ended up working for Sony Bend as a community manager. And he'd put a post out today because I thought, well, Days Gone, I wonder what Viking Dad's thinking about this. And he's there front and centre, so grateful to Sony for allowing me the chance to be involved in the launch of this game and really proud of what we've achieved. And, it did make me feel for 0.2 microseconds a little bit guilty for hating on it. But that guilt resided and the hate's still there. I love the game, don't get me wrong, but I quite happily ate from the bowl of Last of Us Remastered. I quite happily leapt from the bowl of Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. But I'm erring on the side of like, ooh, I don't know now, guys. This feels a bit much.
Almost seems like they're running out of things to remaster at the minute.
It almost feels like they had all their studios working on games that didn't end up coming out, so then said, you better come up with something. And they've gone, well, we've got this. Yeah, put it in a PS5 box, get it on the shelf. It'll sell.
Yeah, just print the copies, print the money. But
we need that Christmas Bobo.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, strange one for me. Games that interest me, I will say Shinobi. It's from the guys who done Streets of Rage 4.
Yeah, give us the gen on that, because that's actually got some legs, right? And this is the first of Sega's, feels like 10 years ago now, but they came out all chest puffed out, showcasing all their classic games that we've loved, and told us they were working on remasters. Shinobi or not remasters, but rejuvenating old franchises that have kind of been left rotting on the Sega shelf for far too long. And then this. So yeah, give us the full grip here, RGT, because this is interesting.
Yeah, I really, really like the look of this. And I mean, being the guys that done Street Rage 4, you've got that similar art style, but it's going to be good. I mean, they smashed out of the park with Street Rage 4. Yes, if you're really into the old school Street Rage, it was that bit different with the art style, but it played well. It had that feel, it had that music, it had that sound effects.
Can I interrupt? I'm sorry for this, but I played it through the pixel filter. And I'll be honest with you, with that on, the art style differences that people were complaining about really fade into nothing because it squares off
Exactly,
the
yeah.
edges and it gives it that. It literally feels like it's an extension.
Yeah.
If we'd had a game that looked like it was on Mega Drive, people would have moaned.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, you're making a game 30, 35 years later. It's not easy to jump onto someone else's IP and make something new from that, and they've done it, and they've done a great job of it. It's a brilliant game. So, yeah, I think this will be good. Shinobi's always a challenging game, so I think it'll be tough. It'll be tough. But I liked what I saw. They've kept it 2D, they've kept it side-scrolling, and the platform, and I'm liking that. I think, yeah, I'll enjoy playing this. And I mean, this is the first of theirs, so apparently they're doing Crazy Taxi and they're doing Golden Axe.
Yes, that was another one confirmed. So there's
was there a Streets of Rage as well? 3D Streets of Rage or something?
I could have sworn I saw that. Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting. But if these guys are going to be up behind a few of these, well, I don't think we've got nothing to worry about. But that looked really good. The other one was the Sonic Racing. Was it Crossroads or Crossworlds? I think it was.
Crossworlds.
The last two Sonic Racing games are, well, funnily enough, are hidden gems. People don't talk about them enough. There was All Star Racing Transformed and the other one on PS4. They're absolutely brilliant kart racing games. I mean, All Star Racing Transformed was fantastic how you changed into boats and bits and pieces as you race around. Such tight kart racing games and don't get enough love.
No.
I was interested in this, and they're great party games. You've got a few people around and you want to play some kart racing, so I was really interested in that. The other one I thought was, I've got to find the name of it now. It's from the guys, Supermassive.
Yes, bear with me while it's called Directive 8020.
That's the one. I like the look of that. I know it's probably going to be down the same lines as what they done, and I know the Quarry was not the best accepted game. I played through the Quarry. I did enjoy it. Yes, it was a bit glitchy at times, but there's just something about that playing the same room with a few of your, almost sort of survival horror, play the movie sort of game, a few quick actions. And I just thought that looked really good in space. It reminded me, the storyline they shoot, it reminded me of that Ryan Reynolds film. What was that called?
Deadpool?
No, he was in space, and he was the first one to get infected. They had that infection in the spaceship. What was that called?
I can't remember.
Anyway, reminded me of that on that story.
I'll let people know exactly what it is. So it looks like a brilliant narrative adventure called Directive 8020. It looks like a mix between Alien and The Thing, as a ragtag group of astronauts are stalked by a terrifying alien life form, which can assume the appearance of its prey. This is what the blurb says. This is what Stingray would say. The brave astronauts of the Cassiopeia embark on a deadly mission to save humanity, but their ship is infected by an alien life form that perfectly imitates its prey.
Yeah, I think it was called Life, the Ryan Reynolds film.
Okay, I'm glad we cleared that up.
Yeah. But it was similar premise where obviously something's on the ship and is slowly infecting people. It seems that had gone down that sort of story route, and I thought, I quite like space games and something a bit creepy, so that'd be quite good. Surprised to see a Digimon. Never played Digimon games. I don't think we've had one of them for a long while, have we? Have you ever been a Digimon player?
I can't say I have, but I mean, it's a bit like Pepsi versus Coke, isn't it? I don't sip from the Digimon cup.
No, it's never been my sort of thing.
And it's no snobbery. It's just that if I'm going to go for a Pocket Monsters game, it's going to be Pokemon.
Yeah. I mean, things like Five Nights at Freddy's, I just think... I mean, what was that called? Secret of the Mimic or something, was it?
I'm bored of seeing that now.
Yeah, it's been done. Do something different now. You've had so many of those.
Put something different in the state of play, please.
Yeah.
It feels like the Five Nights at Freddy's show, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been done now, and I know. But that Midnight Walk, I thought that was quite artistic, looked quite good.
Yeah, well, obviously what piqued my interest is the fact that it's coming to PSVR 2, which is very much appreciated.
In my notes, I put down Night Before Christmas VR game style, art style, which I thought that looked that sort of stop motion sort of almost animation. I thought it looked quite good.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's exactly what they're going for in terms of the look at and what have you. And I think it's been achieved really, really well. Like I say, anything that casts any light in a positive way, or no, actually at this point, I'll take anything that casts any light on VR2,
Yeah,
positive or
exactly.
negative, right? Although not that long ago, it was Rachel's birthday, and we had her family round, and we got the VR2 out and put them all in kayak, an amazing experience. We put one or two of them in the Subside, which is the latest diving game on VR2. It's not as strong as kayak, not by a long chalk, but great visuals, great chilled out way of just swimming around underwater. It's the only game I found where I hold my breath. I was playing it and I thought, hang on, George, what are you doing? You're holding your breath. Like, yeah, you are, aren't you? Why are you doing that?
That says how realistic that can be. It's even more of a shame that it's not been backed enough for PSVR2 that it's that good.
Yeah, completely. And that the visuals in that, they're 4 to 8K at times, when you're picking stuff up and you're looking at it, much like Kayak, when the Pro got its update, they ramped up the visuals in there to 8K textures, and you can tell.
Yeah.
It looks at times, and I know I'm going to get people writing in, but at times when you're absorbed in it, it's indistinguishable from real life kayak. And Subside has that similar vibe. The texture of the sand, the texture of things underwater, the actual meniscus of the water, that layer on top that you come up through is done in a way I've never seen in a game before. And then when you come up to the surface, the surrounded area around you is kayak level of detail. Very impressive. But we're not here to talk about Subside. We're here to talk about the Sony State of Play. Is there anything else within there that you want to do a deep dive on?
Well, one I did really like the look of was that Split Fiction from the guys who done A Way Out and It Takes Two. And it's almost like had that sort of Tron vibe to it, where you play paired up and go through. I thought that looked really good. I really do. That could be a day one purchase for me. I really like the look of that.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Yeah. I don't say that very often nowadays, but I thought that looked really interesting. And, how A Way Out and It Takes Two played. They were really good. They nailed that couch co-op together, really nailed how that can be done now. It's not a thing of the past to sit together and play.
Yeah.
And then adding that sort of sci-fi in and that Tron look and that almost sort of synth wave, I thought, I really like the look of that. I see me and Mrs. RGT playing that. So that's one I'm going to definitely keep an eye on. One of the real promising ones I thought that...
Is that a lounge game, or is it more of a let's take it to the bedroom, darling type games?
Depends how we get on, because if it's anything like Overcooked, you aren't going to speak for a week afterwards, but we'll see.
Play it on the couch, exactly where you'll be sleeping.
I told you to chop the tomatoes.
Oh, I hate that game, mate. Me and Rachel played that early days in our relationship, and I did think like, oh, crikey, how do we recover from this?
I thought that Dreams of Another? I thought that was quite unique.
I can't keep up with all these names you're throwing at me. I'm trying to go through my list to confirm the details. I'm like, hang on a minute now, RGT. I tell you what we'd be remiss not to talk about, and in my personal opinion, is it's not often that an ex-GTA producer rocks up and says, I'm making a game. A third-person action shooter, mind you, called Mind's Eye for PS5. Now, before I wade in, because I'm obviously jaded George these days, before I wade in, what did you make of that?
I put in my notes, Detroit Become Human versus Last of Us. It seemed that crossover between...
harsher. I'm going to say this, all filmed at night with what looked to me like low-res textures. Is this Kane and Lynch 3?
Oof.
I told you, J.D. George, he's not nice, is he?
Yeah, I thought that was more... I put Detroit because of the...
Yeah, I get it.
Almost sort of decision-based sort of robo sort of style. And then Last of Us, because I thought they almost tried to make it look quite intense, and storyline and atmosphere. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. Some of these did not show us enough. You got a glimpse of a few seconds of so-called gameplay. Some were on PS5 Pro, some were just rendered, and you just think, you're not really showing us how what the game's about and how we're going to play it. But
what's actually what's what here, guys?
So it's just almost as though they just filled up with stuff that isn't really quite ready yet. But
That's due out this summer. To give people the kind of back of the box blurb on that, Mind's Eye is a narrative-driven single-player action adventure thriller, the kind of thing we're begging for, and I'm giving it a hard time. So, set in the not too distant future in a fictional desert city of Red Rock, where artificial intelligence, there's your Detroit Become Human reference, and human greed collide to bring Earth to the precipice of collapse. Developer is Build a Rocket Boy, and they go on to explain we don't have a lot to go on outside of the two trailers embedded in this. No, that's what they explained. That's what the game is. My bad. I read it wrong.
No, you're right. I thought that...
And I've only watched the gameplay trailer, to be fair, which very much was like those quick snap third-person action shots. For some reason, they had the camera on the floor. That didn't give it the best showing, I don't think. But yeah, who am I to complain?
I'd say interesting, maybe just interesting. I like the look of the Tides of Annihilation. I thought, in the London, sort of the ruins of London.
And that seems to have provoked a reaction from quite a few people, much the same way as you kind of bring it up there.
Again, I put Darksiders versus Stellar Blade or Bayonetta.
Yeah, it's definitely got the Devil May Cry vibes about it.
Yeah.
The setting's fascinating to me, obviously. It's a newly formed Chinese developer, Eclipse Glow Games. Again, it's not the sort of name you want to be shouting someone in for their tea for, but it's an action-heavy experience inspired by Devil May Cry and Stellar Blade. You play as humanity's last remaining survivor in a single-player title heavily focused on narrative. Tides of Annihilation is designed to evoke classic action games, a fast-paced combat system that allows some experimentation through the use of 10 spectral knights. They appear to lend you extra powers to help shape your fighting style and unlock new combos. Battles are fought against huge mobile knights, which are first described as vertical challenges, potentially in a way similar to Shadow of the Colossus, that you must cement before you fully take them down. As we've said, this is all set against the backdrop of a broken modern London, where you shall get to visit some of its famous landmarks. In the trailer, we saw Tower Bridge, amongst other places. So, we've got a comment from the lead game producer, Kung Fu. That's legitimate, actually. Just back off for everybody. His name is Kung Fu, Kunfu. He said it's an incredible and humble accomplishment to be able be away with you. To announce the game as part of Sony's State of Play live stream. He goes on to say, we created a world that reimagines Arthurian legend where themes of courage, loyalty, and heroism intertwine with an epic story set in a strange yet familiar setting that will test the mettle of true gamers and push the genre forward. Quite brave talk for your debut project. I tell you what else it screamed to me, if I may be so bold. Galahad to me! The Order 1886.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Very similar. Yeah, I can see where that's come from with the London vibe and that. But yeah, that was definitely interesting. I think there seems to be a lot of these third-person sort of Stellar Blade action games floating about at the minute. Seem quite popular.
They seem to be filling the gap that's naturally appeared as Sony, who historically has banged out those sorts of games for its users, have been a little bit no-show this year. And I do feel like these indies and new start developers and people like that are actually bringing it to the table.
Yeah. Is there anything on there that you thought, day one or something that's grabbed your attention? Borderlands 4, for instance? Anything like
Obviously,
that?
Days Gone caught my attention for the wrong thing, for the wrong reason. It was nice to see Snake Eater pop up, I have to admit. I'm still at odds with that because I do believe the PS2 game is pretty close to perfection. Although it doesn't look very pretty to modern gamers, it's still an absolute banger. And underneath this fancy graphics, this is the game you're getting, actually. You're just getting that PS2 game. So don't get too revved up. Borderlands, I played the first two, and I'll be honest with you, it's all she wrote for me. Um, Tides of Annihilation did pique me interest, but it's not a game for me. It's like that Devil May Cry, Stellar Blade juggling baddies kind of scenario again, and yeah, I don't know what to make of that. I was kind of intrigued by the Abiotic because it's basically a survival crafting game, which I do have a little bit of a penchant for when the moment's right, but I don't know if that's for me per se. I'm much like you, Shinobi. That's always going to be interesting. You're right in what you say. That was one hard-ass game back in the day. It's one of those games where you kind of make a deal with yourself as a kid, like get off the first level and you can go out, go get a Kit Kat. And then you're like 3 attempts in and you're literally biting the controller, making a deal with, you let me finish this level this time, console, I'm going to smash you up. And then you don't do it and you're like, oh, I want to smash you, but I can't. I don't know if anyone else made deals with themselves or the console as a kid, but
Oh yeah, all the time. I'll unplug you. I'll unplug you.
And my SNES controller back in the day, just along the top edge, had 2 very deep canine teeth indentations where I'd lose it and I'd just like bite down on. I mean, older me now is like literally turning in my grave. I'm not dead yet, but I'm like, oh God, boy, you were intense.
Yeah.
But that's how games got. Yeah, I didn't want to cheat because it kind of broke the game, and then you end up seeing the last levels and you lost all interest in playing it. So I wanted to play through it, but sometimes the lives and the way you got caught, and as a kid you don't necessarily learn that quickly, do you? So it's like, oh, I've died in the same place. I've got all the way through to this same place and died in the same place in the same way every single time. And then, like I say, you're making deals in your head with like anything that you think will listen, the control pad, the console, the telly. You're looking at the box and screaming, begging the coders to just give you one chance. That's how desperate you are. So we'll see what Shinobi turns up like in the modern
probably got
era.
a few quality of life touches, I would imagine.
You've got to pray, haven't you? Only the hardcore are going to enjoy that.
I'm going to keep an eye on your dual sense for teeth marks, put it that way.
Yeah, fair enough, old boy. I mean, fair enough. Digimon, zero interest, dude, if I'm honest with you. Darwin's Paradox. I mean, there was that much to look at on the day. It did end up being a little bit of an overload, but
it was a bit strange.
There's a game where you play as a that's a Seb game all day long.
Well, I just put Little Nightmares with an octopus.
Yeah, Seb's game of the year, guarantee it, and he won't be wrong. I'm sure it'll win every plaudit under the sun. Midnight Walk, obviously, we talked about because I'm relatively interested in seeing the VR2.
Lovely art style as well for that. I quite like that.
Agreed. It didn't have to be that nice. The fact that it is actually quite a boost. We already knew about the social sandbox on WWE, so I was a bit annoyed to see them walk in with it, if I'm honest.
I'm not a wrestling fan myself, so that was lost on me. So I don't know if that was a hit or a miss or what. I'm not sure, but
I'm finding... Listen, we had on M. Dickey, who made the wonderful Wrestling Empire on Switch, and I know a lot of people look at that and say it looks like literal dog chocolate. I understand that, but do you know what? It plays a real mean game. And you go back and listen to the interview, obviously, me and Matt is his real name, Matt Dickey, had a little bit of backward and forward and about the glitchiness of the game. I'm doing that in inverted quotes for the audio listener. But the glitchiness is all part of the freedom of it. And this year we got WWE 2K24 as part of a free download from PSN as part of the monthly games. I thought, yeah, all right, it's been long enough, I'll give it another go. Literally within an hour downloading it was deleted. It's the most stark. Okay, yeah, you can go through and be Roman Reigns, but you can't live the life of Roman Reigns. They have these showcase moments where you live moments from the past, but they're literal snapshots. What I want is a career mode where I can play through and be involved in the shenanigans of WWE. And I don't want to control it through a menu. I just want it to evolve. Basically, give me Here Comes the Pain, and we'll be happy. We'll leave you alone. And I will flock to this and play it for hours without any question. But they seem so incensed about doing that. And all they want to feed us is these WrestleMania moments. And I'm literally sick to the back teeth of it. And even now, when you play the career mode, as they label it, you have to take through almost one of their preset characters. And you can't do what you want in the match. You get halfway through the match and it's like, oh, you must perform this special slam on matey. And I've literally broken him on the ground. He is broken, completely done. But I can't pin him because to evolve the story in their fake-ass storyline, I need to do this certain slam on this guy.
Oof.
Which means I'm not controlling the story. I'm basically viewing it. That's not what video games
Sound
are.
like lazy
They're an
development.
interactive medium, aren't they, right? So why do I want to have to fight him your way? You've asked me to create a character. In my mind, my character would never do that. But I literally can't advance or come out of this game unless I do that move. No, thank you. It's getting deleted. And it's the same in the WrestleMania moments. I know they need to protect what happened in the past, but let me go in and change history then. Let that be the killer app of the WWE 2K25. Change history. Don't make me do it that way. Reward me if I play out the match exactly as it went down in real life. You know, give me a rating for how close I got. That's interesting to me. But don't make me dance that dance. It's pointless. Rant over. Jaded George. I see a T-shirt idea. Come on, guys. Don't let me down. Let's see the artwork for a Jaded George T-shirt. Ominusha 2 remaster. I'm always going to be slightly intrigued by that. But again, it's not exactly my normal cup of tea. And to be fair, Ominusha wear the sword as well. That looked great, but again, it had me wondering: is this me? It's the same with Stellar Blade.
Yeah,
right?
it looked quite good. It had that sort of almost comedy vibe to it, didn't it? Sort of zombies. It was sort of zombie samurai, but with a comedy touch where he was saying these funny lines, and I sort of thought, I didn't quite get it.
Just go with it.
Yeah, but it looked decent game. It looked decent.
One thing that interests me, and I'd love to know your feedback on this, because you're now a rabid Dave the Diver fanboy. You got the T-shirt.
I don't know about that far, but I'll put some hours in it. Yeah,
you're a Dave the Diver fanboy, as far as I'm concerned. What do you make? Have you played any of the other DLC that they've provided for that?
No, I haven't. No.
So I guess
it was a strange connection there. I think, isn't it? I mean, you might tell me different, but. Like a Dragon with Dave the Diver?
Well, it's tenuous at best, isn't it? But they have got the pirate game coming out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So to me, maybe that's what they're doing here, but it's not even taking that into account. So I don't really know. It's based around Ichiban when they could have based it around the pirate game that they're literally releasing right now. But instead, we get to witness Ichiban's holiday. So, you know, there's an open goal and they kicked it clean over the top. Am I against it? No, I'm not. I want to see Yakuza spread around the world. Although, as with all games that I like, they get popular. The more they get accepted in the mainstream, the more the gameplay gets changed, the less interest I have in it, but the more successful it becomes. So, why cater to me? I'm just scum. I got you to this point, and now I'm literally a shoulder to stand on to get to your next set of audience figures. Better play to you, Old The UCP will never do that to you. They never will.
Nope.
I want to wrap up there, really, and I want to dive into what can only be described as our fresh list, because I said we'd never do that to you. But we want to say thank you, because we've got our tiers on Buzzsprout. If you click at the bottom of the episode, you can click the button there and you can support us. Let me tell you now. Don't pay us £10. It's there. You're welcome to it if you want to, but I would recommend you get in at $3 or $5. Keep it low, right? Pay us what you buy a coffee for or something like that. We appreciate it when you go crazy, but there isn't necessarily a need. The show will always be free. The tiers, though, do have a level of support in them. RGT, have you got your teeth in? Are you prepared to let me know what the tiers are, sir?
I certainly can. I still ain't got my teeth in, but I will read them out.
Leave them out after the show. We can make it work.
Wow. I better get on with these then. $3, you get read out on every show, which you'll find out in a moment. $5, you get read out on every show, and you get yearly art merch, which are new artwork should be coming very soon. We are designing, so yeah. I'm not sure that's some or no.
Only because we are doing it, but I'm trying to get something that we like, and I'm circling around it, but I haven't dialed zero yet. I think the last one I sent you last night was probably the closest thing so
Yes.
far.
Yeah, definitely. So that's what's the $5 one. On the $8, you get read out in every show. You get yearly art merch, plus you get access to the Unglorious Chat, which is a sectioned off little part of our Discord. But obviously, the rest of the Discord is all there for you to use. But it's just as a little bonus for those tiers. You can hop in there and have a chat with us. $10, you get read out in every show, yearly art merch, plus access to the Unglorious Chat. Plus, you get a quarterly Zoom chat with the hosts, which is rapidly coming up very soon. So I'm thinking of a Saturday again. I'm thinking end of this month, maybe middle of next month. You guys in the Unglorious, let me know. Go on there, say what day's best for you, and we'll try and get one that's best for everyone. Saturday night, and we'll all jump on, have a bit of a chat about games, a couple of beers.
Unless
nerd
the
out.
devil himself gets in the way, I do fully intend to be on that one.
Oh, wow. We'll both be on it. There you go. So I'll tell you what I'll do. Shall I put some dates? Me and you will get some dates together. We'll put them in Unglorious Chat, and then they can decide what one's best.
May I apologise ahead of time for my level of inebriation during the...
Yeah, maybe that'll just be me then, but we'll see.
No, let me apologise ahead of time for the state of my inebriation. What you're going to see is basically me dribbling. But I'm very grateful to every single one of you. We do jest and we muck about, and to everybody around the world that support us and listen, we're humbled and very grateful. Although, finish the tears, RGT, and I'm going to do a poignant and
I've finished the tears.
Called, okay. My New Year's resolution of pay attention to RGT, fallen at the first hurdle. Fine. Mm-hmm. We'll move on from that. Let me say, before we get into the list of our dear subscribers, let me say, well, they're supporters. Let me say, if you're listening, this is the first time listening, God damn, I love you genuinely. Thank you so much. This show is something that we do as... it started as a passion project, really, and it's built into something that sometimes I feel a little bit sort of intimidated by. It's grown to a size. We've got a community to care about. We've got each other to care about. We've got more hosts, and I've got appendages on my body, and it continues to grow. All I ask is that you share. I don't even want your money. The show will be free. It'll always be free, but your support means a lot to us. Mm-hmm. But what I do want is you to spread the word. Listen everywhere you can. Download the show as well, because it changes the metrics, because sometimes the stream isn't quite good enough. We know we have more activity going on, but our beloved podcast host only includes downloads, which is frustrating when most people stream podcasts.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
That's totally cool, but a download would be really appreciated. Watch us on every platform, comment where you can, tell your friends, and if you're still thinking, what more can I do for these guys? Well, click at the bottom of the link of the show's description and give us $3, guys. Everything you give us is game-changing. From the bottom of my heart to the very top, we're at episode 257 right now, and we have no right getting beyond episode 12. But here we are, episode 257.
Still grinding.
So we must be doing something right. But we want to try and push this year to get really bright up in the noses of all the big power makers, and you want to help an underdog grow and smash the big boys and then fall out of love with us because we're not the underdog anymore, come join us, because what a hell of a journey we'll be on to get there. It'll take us decades, so don't worry. You'll be your favourite podcast for a good couple of decades. When we're gaming on our legs or our knee pads or I don't know.
Oh, God, yeah.
With that all said and done, RGT, you were going to say something.
No, I was just going to say, I can imagine us and the old people saying, episode 2478.
Don't. It's a recurring nightmare for me. Is this what I've become? Entertain me! I'm sorry, sir. Let's get stuck into that supporters list. So these are people that are supporting us at any level out there on the Buzzsprout support mechanism. Again, it's at the bottom of the link. Don't want to bore you with it. But these fine people, let me kick it off with Cnox coming all the way from Sweden. Let me personally say, I see you and I love you.
And we've also got the one-man George fan club as Carlos.
I don't need an army. I just need one guy. And I tell you what, my one man turns up and literally DDTs your whole fan club through a burning table, stands atop them, and just growls at them in a rather manly fashion.
Wow, well, that's quite intimidating when you said that.
Thanks. Who's next?
It's your turn.
Firm returns.
And then we've got Trestles New York. Fantastic Sports. Thanks as always.
Thank you, Trestles. If you're in New York and you happen to be at a loose end, get yourself down Queens and get yourself into Trestles. Jack is no longer there, but if you want to check out our old episode where we did a live show from Trestles New York, please go do so. Next then, sir, it's the mighty, and let's go old school. Everybody stand. Everybody settle down for the Italian anthem, sir. Game controller emoji. Big star.
And we've got Tingle Tuner.
Quite honestly, he's joined us on one of our meetups, and I tell you what, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Not only is he intelligent, not only is he funny, but he's extremely handsome as well. What I wouldn't give to be Mrs. Turner.
And he's happy now because I put him on to Rowan, who he had on the show, with his booklets, his manuals that he makes for Switch games.
Rowan is the sweetest man.
Yeah, and he's got his business making his manuals. So when Tingle Tuner said he'd finished Octopath Traveler 2, I said, "Oh, you can get a manual for your Switch case for that." Next thing he comes back on, yep, I bought one for one and two.
He loves it.
He does love it.
I love seeing him happy playing his JRPG, so nothing makes me happier than popping on and seeing him display one of his latest acquisitions or for his shelf of turn this down now, Tingle Tuner, if Mrs. I've said his name wrong.
Here comes the lawsuit. That was the final warning.
Yeah, I called her Mrs. Turner. It's Mrs. Tuner. So what I'd give to be Mrs. Tuner. But nothing makes... I don't know where I was going with that now. You floored me. I floored myself. Let's move on.
Oh, me? Okay. Digital Muggery, thank you again. And he's been dropping hints in for his challenge accepted, the new one coming for March. So
one of two mods we've got running in the Discord, couldn't do without them. So very grateful. And Digital Muggery's efforts on the photo competition and page and the challenge accepted page, running the league and encouraging you in probably not sometimes the way you expect, but let's face it, he's encouraged you and you've got in and you've gone again and again and again and again and again and again. And what more can we say? Those challenge accepted, they're probably more addicted than heroin.
Yep. Right, your turn.
The Gaming Graham, nice to see that in the latest working docket, you've changed his name from being my gaming grandmother to being my gaming drug dealer.
Exactly. And then we've got the awesome bald border,
which means I get going brown. The mighty Bobaloba, one of the other, and let's face it, the gatekeeper to the Discord. He never really gets involved, but I tell you what, if you step out of line, he's up you like a dose of the trots after a dodgy kebab.
Right. Next we have our wonderful co-host Scott, Marathon Gaming.
Couldn't do it without you, buddy. Thank you, Scott. Which means I get to tell everyone about the infamous yet incredible Sealmaster Elliot.
Oh, bless him! Yeah, what a great lad. Then we've got the wonderful Ginge,
my red-headed stepson. Love you, son. Which means I get the luxury of saying Harvey Retro. Harvey, I see you. I love you. You know where I am. If you need anything, you shout.
Then we have the beautiful Emma Sharp. Thank you,
now,
Emma. I know where this is going again. I know you're back.
Has this not been while? Has Scott not revelled in this while?
No. It's,
Oh, I
have you
didn't
not?
think you had, but I did,
you hadn't listened then, or no?
mate. I
Yeah.
have listened, but maybe
Okay.
I didn't pay enough attention during the subs list area.
Oh. Okay.
I'm publicly apologising now for that. I'm
We'll,
sorry.
we'll talk off air about this.
I've heard so many fat sangees from the pair of you. I don't quite know which way's up anymore, but fair enough. I missed that. So
the Fat Sad Geese are getting out of hand a bit at the moment. I think we're probably pushing the age boundary up in this show.
there is no age boundary anymore.
Oh dear.
Fuck it.
Oh wow.
We're allowed one.
Add beat there. Right. It's you next, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, if I haven't been listening, then how would I know about this little game? Because I happened to find myself in Marsden the other day. Now, that's a nice little town over near Manchester. I was walking around and I stumbled into a shop and someone asked me for directions to Macclesfield. And I turned around to them and said, I don't know where that is, but something tells me it's nowhere near Berlin.
Next, we've got Mums there. Thank you, Mumsy.
Couldn't do it without her. To be honest, I wouldn't be here without her. And I've got a funny feeling you won't be here without her. So
definitely not.
Oh, what absolutely evil snake. So you've written this and started it because then you know that
No, I didn't. You started it. You started this yourself. So you have put this out of sync yourself. So just read it, enjoy it, and say it in your most passionate voice. Where you go.
Gotta get yourself a fan club. There's no better one. It's the RGT fan club for Suffolk's favourite son.
Oh, I want that every week now. That is beautiful.
You better write it down then, because I've forgotten what I said.
Next, we've got Pete Brocklehurst. Thank you, Pete.
Legend. No one kicks a brick like Pete Brocklehurst.
Nope.
Which means I get the right side of a slice of Billy Marmite.
And I get Simon Pryke. Thank you, Simon. Which means you get...
Just sexy boy, sexy boy. It's not your boy toy. Come on, fat give.
Wow, we took that down a different tone this week.
Well, I just thought I would kind of flip it up, get a bit sexy. To be honest with you, mate, I haven't quite recovered from the orgasmic tones that you and Scott sort of jibed together on the Fat Zangief while I've been off. I know as part of his subs request, he did ask for us to read it in a sexual way, but I'll be honest with you, my meat's beaten. I can't do it anymore, so it needs a break, okay? I can't be listening to that week in, week out that way. It needs to simmer down a bit, so it needed Daddy to come out and say, no, simmer down.
I don't even know how to reply to that. I really don't. That is unbelievable.
Good. Are we having fun yet?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
To all those people that joined during the Scott and RGT era, don't worry. I expect to be off for another 8 weeks with stress. So the next time I'm on, I'll be a guest on the UCP.
No, you won't.
No, I feel that we've got a clear run at it for a few weeks now, so I'm looking forward to it. And in all seriousness, thanks for having me back on my own show. You've carried it while I've been off, you and Scott, and I do appreciate that. And obviously Seb as well, and Bobby, and all the guys behind the scenes that make it happen. Very, very appreciative, and you know, our commitment to getting a show out for people every week, regardless. We're there and we're doing it, and the reason that is because we made a promise to you, and we want to be that show that's there for you every time. You're feeling low, you're bored at work, you're on a drive somewhere. I know. I'll give the UCP boys a shot, and we do appreciate it. And the commitment
definitely.
to you is we're going to rock up every week and deliver a slice of mediocrity at best. Oh, why am I keep doing this humble thing? It's not working for us, is it? Oh, God.
Slice of media.
Next week, I'm going to come out shotty to hotty.
Oh, God, that's a blast from the past.
There you go.
Look back on the old YouTube vids.
If there's YouTube vids, get lost in the podcast, you want to hear some of these characters shotty to. I can't even remember I'll have to go back and watch a video to work out how we used to talk, to be honest with you. I've completely forgot. I was looking to you for a clue, RGT. I don't think you've got one.
I remember it was quite extravagant when you shot it too high.
That's actually quite generous. That's actually very generous of you to use the word extravagant, because it was not extravagant. It was gutter snipe at best. Thank you, mate.
No worries.
Now, we know when we've done the subs list, because the show is quite signposted, we like to know where you are in it. That as a listener now, if you're a new listener, you're about to have a lesson here, because what comes after all that is when I ask RGT what he's hoping to play.
I think you can probably guess Sociable Soccer. I want to get that Division 1. I want to be in the top. I want to be in the big boys league. So, definitely more of that. It's just so easy pick up and play. Like I said before, you can play 5 matches in 20 minutes, 15 minutes. So it's just, it's one of them games, like I said last week or week before, how quick you can just put the switch on, being a few games, ding, 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 and out again, So, while they're busy, that's a brilliant game to play. We'll try and not get lost in The Witcher 3 at the moment, as I have no idea where I'm going, but I'll probably put a few more hours into that.
You need to stick with that, mate, unfortunately. I know it feels a bit obtuse, but as things start to unravel, it will all start falling into place. And just see it, really. I think you're getting a bit swept along with the RPG element of it. See it as like Horizon, almost. Change the way you look at the game, and suddenly the game will start to make a lot more sense to you.
Yeah,
because I found with Witcher, I went in and was giving it all this respect, and I was like, oh, it's got all this lore, and oh my goodness. And ultimately, you just chase from A to B, pick up B, bring it back to A, story, chat, drive, walk here, ride here, kill thing, come back. Don't add too many layers on it. It's a wonderful game, and it's collected together in a really great way. But there's nothing in there that's beyond. You stick to your tropes of knowing your level areas, trying to level up, do your side quests, kill an area before you move forward, i.e. make sure you can do everything you can in that area to level yourself up as much as you can, and then keep the momentum going. That's the best advice I can give you. Don't get overwhelmed by all of that. You know how this works, and you can smash it out the park, and you'll enjoy doing it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a game I want to get more into. So, definitely doing that. And I still haven't got back onto Borderlands again on my PS3, so I must get back onto that as I'd started Borderlands. So, play a little bit more of that. And
why?
What do you mean? Why?
I'm just intrigued why you thought, I'll get into
That's because I didn't
online
play
game that no one plays anymore.
That's because I didn't play none of the FPS games back in the day, and I've been working my way through them, the Halos and Bioshocks, and so Borderlands was another one I wanted to play 1, 2, and 3 and see what they're like. And
what do you make of them so far? Shooty bang numbers on screen.
Yeah, I quite like the art style. It looks quite good on PS3, to be fair. It looks really good.
Yeah.
It runs well. I mean, the odd little frame drop here and there when it gets a bit hectic, but
you haven't played it on beta yet, cowboy. You want to see frame drops?
Yes, one per second. But yeah, I'm quite enjoying it, really. I mean, I don't think it's a majorly long game, so I wouldn't have thought that'll be too long into it. But yeah, I'm quite enjoying it. Something different. It's not grabbing as much as Bioshock.
Single player is boring. No, it'll never grab you as much as Bioshock. Two totally separate games. To be fair, in Borderlands, you are going to miss that online element of it. Where you could go through with someone, and all of a sudden it starts to be a lot more fun. Just ploughing through the same creatures and watching the numbers pop up on the screen, looking at the loot and deciding if the gun is 1% better than the one you've got or not, even though you don't like the look of it, better level up sort of thing. I'm not here to poo-poo on it because it has been reasonably successful, but I would prefer they'd worked on another Brothers in Arms game, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just me.
Yeah. So, so I think that's pretty much me. What about you, George? What are you hoping to play?
I'm going to plunge my sword into the scabbard that is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. and then cleave its head off with an axe, because that's just the sort of character I am. I want to do a real good session on Farming Simulator this weekend. I've got a couple of fields that need harvesting. This is most of the audience is just done. If they got past what you've been playing, they're certainly done now. And then obviously, if I get chance, I think I might throw True Crime Streets of New York in the PS2, see if it impresses me, and then immediately throw it out the front window as well. So
cool.
yeah, I'm quite intrigued by that. As other stuff, I just feel like I'm bouncing from one thing to the next. But Assassin's Creed Valhalla has held my attention for the most of the time I've been off there. So I can't really begrudge it too much, because it's literally occupied multiple hours of my life.
2 playthroughs, so
Well, one partially didn't finish playthrough this time, hoping to go get it done, And it did make me think once again about Odyssey and Origins and how, you've recommended them to me, maybe even over Valhalla.
Origins I did. Odyssey I didn't get on with, but Origins I loved as their first sort of more open world, when they first changed it to more RPG. I loved that game, but whether it's aged that well, I don't know. But
I think it has. I think you got to be in the right mindset for it. Will I be in the right mindset after 150 hours of Assassin's Creed Valhalla? Probably not, but I'm intrigued to give it another go now I've arrived at this one, because as has been mentioned on numerous shows, and you're welcome to go check them out, I did do a rather ridiculous, took it upon myself to play through all of the Assassin's Creeds in order. Yes, and there's many things to learn about that. But it did leave me a little bit screen burnt from Assassin's Creed.
You used to cringe when you heard Assassin's Creed.
I literally did.
It's like, no.
And then, obviously, not long before getting the PS5 and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I'd literally rinsed everyone apart from the open world ones, and I was saving Valhalla as my open world PS5 launch experience. And I think I set the stall too high. And I also then was still completely burnt out from Assassin's Creed. And Valhalla switches things up a little bit. So my muscle memory was gone. But coming at it now fresh, wiped my palate well clean. There's definitely elements in there I'm enjoying. I do still believe it's a super bloated game. And some of the... as if luck would have it, your next fetch quest is literally a million miles away. Crack on, Georgie boy.
Off you waddle.
Fast travel. No fast travel allowed. Damn you. Damn you. But yeah, and possibly some F1 Manager 24 or whatever it is. I downloaded the latest version on the Switch. Yes, I did. I think we might have talked about this on air. Playing through that. And to some degree, I'm enjoying it. The challenge is real. It's the same as it is on PS5, but the 2 frames per second presentation has me gagging for a Switch to upgrade. Please don't make me buy it again. I'm just hoping that would fix all of it, and it would then be one hell of a nice experience. The last thing you want to see after Charles Leclerc coming out of the car looking like a Burns victim, when he's not crashed his car once, it's just the shady looking graphics, is you then don't want to look at a loading screen for 2 hours. And that's pretty much my F1 Manager experience. Yes, I'm over-egging it a lot, but you catch my drift.
I've been really tempted to get back into Jeff Grammon's F1 Grand Prix.
Now, if I was that way inclined, I think I would be punching very hard in the stomach of the F19 Stealth Fighter from Microprose. That's something I really would like to get back into. I saw some footage not that long ago, and it's like literally 5 frames per second. But
there's that nostalgia hit.
Yeah, I'll get my dad round. I'll get him on the keyboard as a co-pilot and selecting weapon systems and putting the gear up and doing the flaps and ILS as required and all that and changing waypoints. And I'm literally sat there as a stick jockey.
Get yourself an A500 Mini. Look. Get that on there. Get it on there for cheap.
But then the keyboard overlay wouldn't work, would it?
Well, you'd have to use a USB keyboard.
The overlay. It has to be the overlay only works on the computer it's designed for. So I don't have an Amiga. I've got an Atari ST. I know. I was bullied at school, but it's okay. It made me the man I am today. And it's helped me galvanise with similar PTSD suffering Atari ST owners. Rose Space Monk, I'm looking at you. Right? We've been through some tough times. But no, well, once again, I want to take the time to thank you, RGT, for everything you do. Not only
No
in front
problem
of
at all.
the camera, but behind the camera. I don't mean in that way, but I mean, behind the scenes. And really, the show's gone from strength to strength in your hands. So I'm very grateful to both of you for that. But buckle up because I'm back. And I guess that's all we have time for this week, listeners. As always, thank you for your time, and we look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming. And remember, there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. It's what you do with it that counts. See you, RGT.
Laters.